Sometimes people ask me if I used to be a midwife, and I say no, I just really love birth. When I found out that birth didn't have to be the terrifying, traumatic medical event that we're told in the movies, where women get laughed at and belittled and nobody has any faith in the human body, it just changed my life. I read Millie Hill's Positive Birth book early on in my first pregnancy, and it blew my mind to think that something I thought was true is just a series of lies. I just felt so inspired. I loved learning about pregnancy and birth and how I could bond with my baby, and I really started to enjoy my creativity because I had this wonderful purpose to create. I made my baby a mobile and things to hang on the wall, and I'm painting my own birth affirmations. And it's the first time I painted since school, really, because mainstream schooling really does a number on you from a creative perspective, doesn't it? And it felt wonderful to be painting again. And at the time I thought, I wonder if one day maybe other people might want to buy my painted affirmations. But I was much less far along in my healing journey, and that seemed very much like the kind of thing a very different kind of woman would do. A woman who was a lot stronger than I was and a lot more put together. And I thought, maybe that'd be something I'll do in 10 years or something when I'm a proper grown up. And then I just shelved it. Although I did make an Etsy shop ready in 2019 when I was pregnant. I made a shop ready and I called it From Womb to World. And then that just sat there for a couple of years with nothing on it. Then when I was pregnant with Rosie, I decided it was time. I needed to do something about my condition, sexual shame. And it seemed like pregnancy was the perfect time to do it. Just felt like now is the right time. And I was looking up for resources online for how to begin trying to heal it. And I came across Viola's podcast, and I got in touch with her. She's from LA, and she's a sacred intimacy mentor. And I did a mentorship with her, and we worked through the chakras, and I discovered the tools and the ways to be spiritual that I'd never known as a child, because I didn't have anybody in my life who was like that. And suddenly I had a way to enjoy and experience all these things I'd always felt drawn to, but just didn't have the vocabulary for it. I didn't know how to be a spiritual woman. So that was wonderful, and I'm grateful to all the women that were part of my pregnancy journey and my spiritual awakening. And then so while I was working with Leola, I suddenly realised there's actually nothing stopping me from just making a shop, is there? I could just paint one picture and put it on my Etsy shop, and then if somebody likes it, they can buy it, and if not, I had fun making it, and having that place to put art that I'd made gave me that motivation to make art in the first place. And then the more I did it, the more I could relax around the act of producing it. I do lots of intentional breathing while I painted. I found out holding myself really tight, and a lot of constriction and around creating. And over the years, I've been able to find some more softness around the actual act of when I draw and paint. So I started making diagrams for myself, the things that I wish I'd had when I was first pregnant, to help me understand what was going on in my body and how I could support that. And my range has just grown from there. So I spent a lot of time making downloads for doulas and birth workers to use with clients. And then I started to make products with the illustrations and the paintings that I'd made. And we started to fill up our office full of notebooks and key rings and pens and things. And last year I did a big push on making things for student midwives after we went to the Maternity and Midwifery Forum event. And I realised that I could fill a hole here. I could make some really nice things that are useful and pretty, and made in the UK in small batches, that I felt like that was something that I could make that was meaningful and really help my family because we home educate, so I'm not working in a traditional sense, which is amazing because I never liked being in an office. It wasn't great for me because I get so intense about things. I get stuck in my masculine and work too much. Thanks so much for being here. I just felt like telling you. I don't actually know if my phone's been recording this whole time, so I may just be talking to a window. I just thought I would tell you a bit about me. If you have any questions, I would love to share.